Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a really good one for you today. TransferWise, a Ripple partner, is announcing a global partnership with Visa. Come on in. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And we're also going to look at some comments from past days from Mark Carney, from the FSB, and looking at the new regime leaders that are coming into these regulatory agencies like Gary Gensler at the SEC, Chris Brummer at the CFTC. We're going to talk about what that may mean, and more importantly, XRP the standard. What does the standard mean? Let's roll that beautiful intro and get into this.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradley above at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get into this. So the market's looking rough. The market's looking rough, and we're sitting at 907 billion plus collectively for the crypto market cap. XRP 2532. Man, I tell you, we get down in that low 20s. You start getting $5 for $1 or better than that. I posted on Twitter, you better watch out. I'll buy what's left. Now, a couple pieces of news I did want to touch on before we move forward. This is absolutely fantastic for Unstoppable Domains. I am very, very happy for them. OKCoin is helping make blockchain domains the standard by enabling transfers using human-readable names. Come on in. Here is the little example right here. I'm going to spin that for you really quickly. Now, I'm not sure if that's got any kind of copyrighted music, so I'm going to stop that. But what it does show is that you could use your .crypto name to actually send money to that person. That is where we're going here. And it's just exciting to know that Unstoppable has been so successful this early in the game, and they're just getting started. It's like, I really do look at Unstoppable Domains like GoDaddy.com style, but on steroids. They offer so much more about where things are going, especially with the crypto blockchain technology. Let's keep this going. This morning, I told you guys about registering with Link2. It is free to register. I encourage you to do so. Now, let me tell you one of the reasons why. I was pointing out this morning that Ripple is back on the board. Well, guess what? It shows that there aren't any SPVs available, but let me tell you this. It will show that they're available to you if you have bought them previously. They have reached their limit on how many people can participate due to, I guess, accredited investor rules and things of that nature. However, this is why you need to sign up and get registered, because had you got in earlier, you would still be able to attain the Ripple SPV for the product. And that to me is one of those things where it's like you just never know. So get yourself in there and register. It costs nothing to register. So really do that. Make sure you download the app, and we will see you on those conferences. Now let's go ahead and get into the news here. And it says here that there is thousands of users reporting issues with Vanguard, TD Ameritrade, and Charles Schwab trading platforms. You know, you see things like this, and if you're in this space, you know, you don't know if you're right, and we're all cynical as hell because we hear and learn so much. But, you know, you have to wonder, geez, what's going on here? I mean, are we in the middle of a changeover to a new system? Is this the signal that we need to be on a new system? You know, who knows? All I know is I know that we could solve these issues if we get everybody on some distributed ledger technology. Now, TransferWise and Visa announced global partnership following successful collaboration on cloud technology. And look, this is just exciting to me because at the end of the day, when we see partners that have been partnered with Ripple for a long while, you know, we all saw the TransferWise and runs on Ripple all over the London buses, right? You know, it's just exciting to know that the effort over the years that they've made with their customer base, it's time for them to stand up. It's time for them to begin implementing the Ripple products and the use of XRP, because that's what's going to speak loudest to get the resolution that we need here domestically in the States, because we have clarity broadly in other places. Now, I played this for you guys, and shout out to V8 Staffy, Cover your eyes, my friend. He knows why. It's a personal joke. But I'm going to play this 15-second clip here of Brian Brooks, the former OCC head, explaining some of the solutions. Just listen to this very quickly because you're going to want to stay with me and where we're going here. Check it out.
And so, again, I come back to the idea of that presents regulatory challenges. Now, there are a bunch of solutions that I've heard people talk about on this. One would be, imagine a world where there was a central government blockchain and all other chains sort of connected to it.
Wow, a central government blockchain. Now that is quite an interesting topic. Now, do you remember this guy, Tom Emmer, who said months ago, last summer, he said that he believed while talking to Brad Garlinghouse, he said that XRP, as far as he was concerned, is not a security. Listen to this.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, but there's a lot of members of Congress that still think of this in terms of Silk Road. Yeah. And when you say over 2 years, first off, my position's very clear. XRP is not a security, all right?
Wow. I mean, that's Tom Emmer just laying it down. Now, that and 50 cents won't get you a cup of coffee, apparently, because Ripple's still being sued for being unregistered security. And the same thing for me. But I love Tom Emmer, and I love the work that he's done. I don't mean a slight to him to say that. I just wish we had more people like him that realize what it actually is. Now, moving to this clip that's more recent here from, I think, yesterday. Listen to this, what he says here, and he's talking about digital assets, blockchain, the tech, the benefits go far beyond the, quote, money aspect. The real value is open network. Open network that's not limited to currencies, securities, or commodities. Bitcoin was the first open public network. Let's listen to this quick clip here.
I've been working on this since I came to Congress, and I've been working on it because I have a staff that is incredibly committed to looking forward, to looking to what the future provides, rather than having a government which, quite frankly, has been used by different actors in different marketplaces to leverage their bottom line. In other words, to protect the status quo. This is not the status quo. This is looking forward. This is where we're headed. The Financial Services Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives has, quite frankly, been leading Congress's investigation into digital assets and blockchain technology. However, the benefits, as you point out, Julie, go far beyond the, quote, money aspect of digital assets and cryptocurrencies. The real value is in the idea of an open public network that's not simply limited to currency, securities, or commodities. Bitcoin was the first implementation of a network open to the public, reinforced by its own participants, and capable of letting two participants interact with no middleman. Imagine a world where we can actually have trade value for value without having a middleman that takes some percentage of that
XRP ledger
deal. That's what I was talking about earlier, eliminating the friction of a payment system and efficiency of settlements that could save billions of dollars and, quite frankly, introduce a whole bunch of new people that currently are underserved and underbanked.
Using the XRP token as an exchange rate pegged to every currency and tokenized asset of value on Earth.
And like I said, it goes beyond money. That's the revolutionary aspect of this technology, the idea that we can develop an open network in which we, the individual, controls our own data. We, the individual, again, can freely interact with each other without having to trust gatekeepers or some centralized control mechanism. That idea could be one of the most major breakthroughs of our lifetime. And imagine.
It sure could. And shout out to Tom Emmer. He's really nailing it there. And look, I just have to say that, centralized control and a central government blockchain are not the same thing, right? You're talking about it. If we're looking at it in the aspect of the XRP ledger open source technology, it's open source technology. You can build on it what you want, right? That's the idea. And it has the interoperability combined with the interledger protocol, Flare networks now. Think of these things. Think of the interoperability. What is it going to take to be able to bring all the different payment networks like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and all of them together so they can operate as one federated unit? What is it going to take? It's going to take interoperability. And what does it mean when we say XRP the standard? Shout out to Miguel Viez, who coined the phrase hashtag XRP the standard on Twitter, and it still remains strong today. Yeah, shout out to you, my friend. But what does it mean to be the standard? What are we talking about the job to solve here? If we're going to be talking about what Brian Brooks had mentioned, some of the solutions tossed around in the back rooms there about a central government blockchain, or what Tom Emmer is talking about here, a open public network, and it just doesn't pertain to just securities, commodities, or currency. It could be anything of value that's tokenized. What is the standard to that? Well, the standard to that, to me, is compliance. It's KYC. It's AML. It's CFT. It's the travel rule compliance. It's all of the things that currently, right now, make up the payment networks that you and I use and trust already. Whether it's Visa or your bank, there is compliance. And you better know, with the appointment of Dr. Chris Brummer and Gary Gensler and Janet Yellen, we're about to get compliance in a way that you never even dreamed of. Because, for one, Dr. Brummer and Gary Gensler are two people who have extensive knowledge about blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and crypto. They don't need you to explain anything to them. Okay, let's understand that. Now, that is a brand new perspective on this space from the regulatory chair. We're about to see a couple people come in here that really know what needs to happen, and I believe will become two very, very important people between those two gentlemen. Not to count out Janet Yellen, but as a prudential regulator there at the Treasury and federal regulator there, I would say that she's going to overview what they do and then sign off on it, I would imagine. And I'm sure the Department of Justice will have something to say about all of this too. But when you talk about XRP, the standard, I was talking about this with Big Skinny today, and it really hit home when he brought it up. And I have to say, there is a there, and it's compliance. At Ripple, we understand that compliance and risk management are critical to your bank, which is why we build solutions that offer great visibility into control over cross-border settlement. Listen to this. Stay with me now. Ripple offers seamless integration with your bank's existing systems and processes, such as anti-money laundering control, fraud detection, sanction screening, and regulatory reporting. Ripple makes it efficient for your financial institution to meet compliance requirements while reaping the benefits of real-time settlement. While financial institutions integrating Ripple remain responsible for employing their own compliance measures, Ripple offers a way for your bank to reduce operational and risk management costs. So not only are they cost-effective, they're compliant, right? All right, now stay with me because there's a reason we're here. Another point before we move on. Ripple deal back in 2019 could make XRP cryptocurrency compliant with FATF on an international level anti-money laundering rules, which RippleNet, by the way, has been compliant from day one. As RippleNet is concerned, that every transaction that's come out of RippleNet has been KYC AML. Right down. Right? That is amazing to me. But what does it mean to be the standard? Listen, we have been hearing about Germany, Switzerland, even the talk in the Fed with the public-private relationship. How close are they or not with the CBDC? They're going to do one, but they're not in a rush, right? China, right? So many, the Bahamian Central Bank. I mean, 80% of all central banks are in the process of creating and test piloting a CBDC. So this is going there. But what does it mean to be the standard if standard is compliance? With RippleNet, a ODL system that is set up with the governance and compliance built into it to be able to settle all of these things that Brad Garlinghouse clearly told us that they are working with central banks to issue stable coins for them, CBDCs, off of the XRP ledger. Something's going to have to settle all of this is the point. And whatever it is going to need to be the standard, like Miguel Villas used to say. When I think about what's going to settle this, I start thinking about what the Financial Stability Board has been focused on so heavily, which is a regulatory body connected to the G20 and the G7. And hang in there, because we're going to hear from G7 in just a second. We welcomed the Financial Stability Board, this was last summer, from Canada. And it says, invitation to respond to the consultation on global stablecoin arrangements. Really? Again, the Financial Stability Board. This is what we're talking about. This was from October. Just a few months ago. Point is, they're still talking about it because there's going to be global stable coins. The question is, which ones? When I look at the definition of global stablecoin, again, I remind you, it says a stable coin with the potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. It's at this time I'd like to remind you that the XRP ledger and the XRP token is actually designed to get its value from the level of volume and utility that makes its way onto the network while accessing deep pools of liquidity to support that volume and utility, creating extremely high price in the thousands and thousands of dollars for XRP. Don't believe it, but that's true. That's the full-scale intended use of XRP right there. Will they achieve it? I believe so. I believe that where we are in this process right now is a part of the path to achieving it. Looking here, the Federal or Financial Stability Board connected to the G20, G7 isn't the only ones having this conversation because the G7 does too. This was 1 year ago, and we covered it when it happened. And it talks about global stablecoins being so significant that they could be a systemic risk to the entire financial system on Earth. That's how important they are. So it's understood that they're going to need to have some compliance. It's understood that whatever gets chosen to serve as a global stablecoin will need to be something like XRP and a combination of using a system like RippleNet because it's already compliant. Don't believe me? It's something like the special drawing right. We know that the special drawing right from the IMF is basically a bond, if you will, a treasury note from the IMF. And it has 5 major currencies of the world in that basket that back that SDR. When it is lent to a country, it is said that the SDR is neither a currency nor a claim on the IMF. It is a potential claim on the freely usable currencies on the IMF members. Of the IMF members, SDRs can be exchanged for these currencies in the basket. So this particular treasury note is given to you at an issuance of whatever that value is, and you are able to draw on the currencies that back that treasury note. There's how it works. I offer you the idea and notion to entertain that Gary Gensler may, in fact, push forward, and the court has to decide this, but may in fact push forward to see that XRP becomes a security. And in just a second, I'm going to let you hear him say it. So if he's saying it, you better be thinking about how it affects you. because I know I am. When I think about the special drawing right being a treasury note or a bond per se, and it's backed by 5 currencies, all we really have to do to understand how XRP is intended to get its value from sophisticated institutions like central banks is to expand on the notion of the special drawing right now. Don't envision just 5 major currencies. Envision collateral that is good collateral that's put up with available pricing, which means should there be an economic shock, you could call on this good collateral and liquidate all of it in that market and get that price for it. When you're looking at these things, I want you to really entertain the notion that XRP in its design, and I'm pretty sure I understand this, is the idea of expanding on the treasury note of the SDR, and you go beyond just 5 currencies. It's all the currencies of the world. And you could put up, the central banks could, a percentage of collateral of those reserves to give a floor value to the price of XRP. You could do the same thing with tokenized barrels of oil in the position you hold on that commodity, as well as gold, silver, oil, platinum, copper. You could do this even with soft commodities, wheat, soy, right? People often forget that the XRP ledger is exactly that. It is a decentralized exchange. As far as I'm concerned, it is the backbone of the new FX market. It is the backbone for the NYSE. It should be the backbone for NASDAQ and all the exchanges of the world, because it is a universal ledger. That's its real full-scale intended use, to settle back in all of the clearinghouse, all the DTC, all of this. So when I look at that, I think to myself, look, and I know a lot of people are like, look, you're losing your head. It's 25 cents and they're in the middle of a lawsuit. Okay, I get it. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. But here's what I do know. I'm not the only one who thinks it's a global stablecoin, ladies and gentlemen, because I have showed this to you many, many times, and it never really caught me the way it's caught me today. Mark Carney back in 2019 and the group of 30 actually believe XRP is a global stablecoin, and we've all been speculating about whether it could be or couldn't be. Well, let me tell you, the G30, which this is where this document came from, as you see in the corner. The G30, and he said this in 2019, this document came out this past year in 20, coordinating the introduction of global official sector stable coins. That's global stable coins, ladies and gentlemen. And right down here, he cites that you could use Ripple, a real-time gross settlement system and currency exchange and remittance network whose digital currency XRP leapfrogs slow and expensive correspondent banking. How would you do that? A systemic hegemonic currency could, for example, be a stable coin backed by a basket of deposits, as I just explained to you, at different central banks. It is possible that such a stable coin could be valuable for cross-border payments. Mark Carney and the entire G30 believe that XRP is in fact a global stable coin. I have to ask the question, if you're going to have a global stable coin, which by the way, has the potential to reach an adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. And I say to myself, how does that happen? Well, maybe it happens something similar, not exactly the same, but something similar as the special drawing right. Maybe if we're getting the value and we understand the value after sophisticated institutions really become a part of this network, and pony up good collateral, maybe we understand that that could push it into a security designation. But because the asset has utility, you could almost look at it the way you look at a bearer bond. Now, bearer bonds are not issued in the United States anymore because the difference between a regular bond and a bearer bond is that there is no name or account information on the bearer bonds. And that's why they discontinued them, because people were able to avoid taxes. Doesn't that sound a lot like crypto? Doesn't that sound a lot like Bitcoin? The anonymity issue? And what did they do? They discontinued it in 1982. Uh-oh. You don't suppose they'll discontinue Bitcoin, do you? Something is coming in this space, and it will be transformational when it comes. I believe Bitcoin may remain, but I believe it will change dramatically in how it's dealt with and how it's seen. And I think crypto broadly is going to be dealt with in a much different manner than it has been up until now. But with that aside, I come back to the idea of a bearer bond. What do we say in this space? I don't say it, but a lot of people say it in this space. Not your keys, not your crypto. Doesn't that sound a lot like a bearer bond used to be? No name information, no account information. If you hold it, you own it. Doesn't that sound just like crypto? If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That's why I feel like there's such a similarity here between the bearer bonds, except now today, with the right digital asset like XRP, XLM, you can have the anonymity issue dealt with. And we could have the digital address, and because you bought it through an exchange, and maybe someday it changes to an accredited investor, dealer, broker, if it should get a security designation, and then you're whitelisted, they have you figured out. And you can keep your anonymity unless we see something wrong and we have to drill down beyond the numerical address of your wallet and get to who you actually are. We're talking about bringing the value of many different assets, not just 5 currencies like the SDR. You know, when I had a chance to speak with David Schwartz at Swell in 2019, we talked about the collateralization of the ledger, and he had said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, but he had said to me about the idea of having all the money and all the assets of value on the ledger. And mathematically speaking, if everything were to go to zero, which is possible, it would really mean more of a situation like it's the end of the world. Because if everything were to go to zero at the same time, it would mean something cataclysmic had taken place on Earth. Because there's safety in getting all the value on an open network and bringing all the value on there and having that movement of volume and utility being the real price driver to price for XRP. This is why I say I don't want to take the idea of a bearer bond off the table, because for one, this would really bring it back into a security setting. But if you look at the definition of global stablecoin, again, the potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions. Well, the SDR has that, and it's more like a treasury note, right? And if I look at the bearer bond issuance and bringing something back like that with the anonymity issue gone, I could see in my mind, you could set up a scenario where anybody could hold this bearer bond. It has a fixed value because it is a fixed income instrument. And by the way, because it's a bearer bond and it's worth X amount of dollars, let's say $1,000 or $10,000 per XRP, per bearer bond, this could be exchanged because it's paired to everything of value on the universal ledger, XRP ledger. And because everything moves across it, we can easily liquidate it for whatever anyone needs it for. And because it's simply a bearer bond fixed income instrument, I would think that there would be very easy for multiple jurisdictions to be able to hold this asset, knowing that no matter where they are in the world, they could exchange this asset for whatever dollar value or asset that they want to exchange it for. Before we leave, I want to play this quick clip here. Shout out to XRP Bags channel for having this clip of Gary Gensler. And I want to play this quick clip for you of Gary Gensler telling you that XRP is an unregistered security. Now, listen, I'd love a currency designation. That's what I would love. But we better start listening to what these people are saying and seeing, because at the end of the day, I just feel like we need to understand what the possibilities are, so we don't have to try to figure out where to go in the fog of it happening. Listen to what he says here.
So Hugo was asked about the token XRP and whether I think it's a non-compliant security. I've spoken publicly. Yes, I do think it's a non-compliant security. But this will not be resolved just by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It will be resolved by some courts, whether it's appellate courts or the Supreme Court.
And there you go. And he goes on to say, but look, this is just what I believe, right? But at the end of the day, the Howey test, and I will mind you that the Howey test that we have for the SEC was a Supreme Court case between the SEC and Howey. And guess what? Howey lost that one. But that's how we got the Howey test. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to lose in order to get the next test for digital assets that could be, let's say, the Ripple test. But the reality is that there has to be some legal precedent in order to move forward here. I really do believe that. And I think we have to start entertaining the notions of, I don't think it's such a bad thing if XRP were to be, let's say, something like a new introduction of an electronic or digital bearer bond. I think it could be very good if we could go anywhere into the world and be able to exchange it for whatever you need at any given time. That to me is a pretty exciting concept. So where this goes, nobody knows. But what does the XRP standard mean? It means compliance. And guess what? We got it, baby. Hit that like and subscribe and leave the comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comments section for any products or services that you may want or need. And there are some really, really great things in there. I will catch all of you on the next one.